गाइस गुड इवनिंग गाइस। हम आज कोशिश करेंगे कि डज गॉड एग्जिस्ट इस टॉपिक के बारे में हम डिस्कस करेंगे। लुक एट दिस इमेज फॉर फ्यू सेकंड्स। इन दिस पिक्चर we shows that single woman figure standing under the sky that seems to have no edge. That figure is every one of us. For as long as human beings have been able to look up, we have asked the same question, not because a book commanded it, not because a tradition required it, but because something in the simple fact of being conscious forces the questions into our existence. Tonight we are not here to win an argument. We are not here to convert anyone or to dismantle anyone's faith. We are here to walk into a question itself with the open eyes. The most conversations about the God begin with the conclusions already locked in place. People arrive ready to defend or ready to dismiss. Tonight, I want to invite a different posture, a posture of genuine curiosity, a kind of curiosity that made early humans paint animals on the cave walls by firelight. The kind that made Kepler says he was thinking the God's thoughts after him. The kind that made Einstein speak of cosmic religious feelings that had nothing to do with the dogma. We look at the science without turning it into an weapon or philosophy, without turning it into a shield. We look at the human heart without reducing it into a chemistry or elevating it beyond all scrutiny. We will remain honest about three different things. Let us see very carefully. We will be honest about what we know, what we think we know, and what we simply do not know. The image in front of you is not the decoration, it is the starting point. A finite consciousness standing inside an apparently infinite universe, asking whether the whole thing is somehow aware of itself, or whether awareness is only local, temporary, alone. That is where we begin. मैं सिंपल सा एग्जांपल देता हूँ. डज गॉड एग्जिस्ट और नॉट? साइंस बहुत कोशिश की है, स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी कोशिश की है जानने के लिए गॉड है कि नहीं. दोनों मानते हैं. साइंस भी मानता है कि एनर्जी एग्जिस्ट रहता है, स्पिरिचुअलिटी भी मानता है देयर एग्जिस्ट एन एनर्जी, मीन्स इनफाइनाइट एनर्जी. बट दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या है? मतलब दोनों आप बिगड़ रहे हैं, मीन्स वो दूसरा तरफ जा रहा है, ये दूसरा तरफ जा रहा है. एनर्जी हैज नो माइंड, ये साइंस बोलता है. स्पिरिचुअलिटी बोलता है एनर्जी हैज अ माइंड, मीन्स पर्सोना. व्हाट वी से पर्सोना और पर्सनालिटी. मैं ये स्मॉल एग्जांपल से आपको अंडरस्टैंड करना चाहता हूँ. आपका घर में एक स्विच बोर्ड होगा, उसमें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आता होगा. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी. ओके. जो भी वो स्विच बोर्ड को टच करेगा उसको शॉक लगेगा. ओके. कोई भी, इट्स सो प्रैक्टिकल, हर किसी भी जानता है कि स्विच बोर्ड को टच करे तो शॉक लगेगा. बट इट्स नॉट द एग्जैक्ट व्हाट द स्पिरिचुअलिटी इज टेलिंग. बट आई ट्राई टू quote this example. Almost means where spirituality meaning I am saying means as what's going on means spirituality क्या बोलता है कि वो स्विच बोर्ड जो भी टच करेगा उसको शॉक लगता है कि नहीं, ये इसके ऊपर की डिपेंड करेगा कि वो पुण्य किया है कि पाप किया है. पुण्य ये क्या होता है? ये एक रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स होता है. इट्स अ समेशन ऑफ योर गुड डीड्स. आप पुण्य किया है. ये पाप का भी एक रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट होता है. आप पाप मतलब इट्स ए समेशन ऑफ योर बैड डीड्स इन योर लाइफ. जो भी आप किसी आदमी स्ट्रगल कर रहे हो तो उसको मदद किए हो तो मीन्स नॉट ओनली person, any living being. If you help somebody who is struggling or any kind of help, then you will get a reward in return for your good deed. एंड इट विल बी स्टोर्ड इन योर अकाउंट। ओके, लाइक फ्लिपकार्ट में आप जो भी वही करोगे रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट आएगा, ऐसा ही आप गुड डीड्स करोगे आपको भी रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट आएगा। और जब भी आप तकलीफ में रहोगे, ये दोनों का वे किया जाता है कि आपका गुड डीड्स के कितना रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स है, मीन्स पुण्य का कितना रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स है, पाप का कितना रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स है, दोनों वे करके आपका ऊपर इफेक्ट होगा। ये स्पिरिचुअलिटी, मतलब हर रिलीजन ऐसा नहीं मानता है। Some religions tilt towards science, some religions fully tilt towards what I said now. Though it looks somewhat very silly, it's you might have seen it's very relating example, I feel. Okay. So punya और पाप मीन्स वो डिसाइड मतलब somebody मीन्स एनर्जी डिसाइड करे, एनर्जी मतलब माइंड, ये चॉइस करेगा, इसको ऐसा ट्रीट करूंगा, ऐसा ऐसा ट्रीट करूंगा, ये अच्छा बंदा है, ये बुरा बंदा है, ऐसा जब डिसीजन लेता है मतलब उसको माइंड है। एनर्जी हैज अ माइंड मीन्स इट हैज सम कॉन्शियसनेस। कॉन्शियस इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट थिंग, कॉन्शियस इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट थिंग, इट्स नॉट द राइट वर्ड टू यूज। आई कैन से इट्स अ माइंड मीन्स परसोना। देखे होंगे आप, हम भगवान को फोटो में लगाते हैं, ओके, मतलब हम we treat him as human being only, means he thinks like us only, like that we decide. So मैं इस सेशन में हम कोशिश करेंगे, मतलब हम तो हमारा आर्किटेक्चरली हमारा लिमिट्स है। मैं एग्जांपल, हम एक एंट विल बी देयर, एंड उसको वो एंट को आप कंप्यूटर के ओएस को बनाने के लिए मतलब कुछ दिया तो it can't do for us, it's easy to means not OS, some other thing you take, operating computer system or something for ant it is not possible, because its architectural built up means body जो है और माइंड क्या है उसका बहुत लिमिटेशन है। वो लैपटॉप में बहुत बड़ा हो गया उसके लिए, हमारे लिए ये तो छोटा है। ऐसा ही हमारे लिए भी कुछ ऐसा होगा जो हम नहीं जान पाएंगे, मीन्स इस दुनिया में ऐसा चीजें होंगे हमारे ब्रेन और बॉडी के लिमिटेशन के वजह से हम नहीं जान पाते। और जब हम नहीं जान पाते इसका मतलब नहीं है कि वो नहीं है करके, होता भी होगा। ओके, इसलिए जब आप नहीं जान पाओगे इसका मतलब नहीं है कि आप बोल सकते हैं कि इट डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट। सो ऐसा है, we'll have this total, this session consist of 30 slides. Okay, we'll go one by one, and it will be like a lecture only. We'll go. Why this question will arise in everybody? See, this question is not from today. These empires rise and fall, languages disappear, entire cosmologies are replaced by better ones. Yet the question keeps returning, almost as if it is written into an operating system of human mind. A child of 4 looks at the night sky and asks, who made the stars? A person facing the death, regardless of what they claim to believe while healthy, often finds the question rising again with an unexpected force. Even people who insist question is meaningless still feel its pressure when life becomes unbearable, and or it's unbearably beautiful. This persistence itself is a data point. If the questions were merely a cultural accident, we would expect some civilizations to have lived without it. We do not find from aboriginal dreamtime to philosophical schools of Greece, from Upanishads to desert fathers, from indigenous cosmologies to modern astrophysics. The orientation towards something behind the immediate appears again and again. Why like this? One possibility is that question is a cognitive byproduct. The brain's pattern seeking a machinery misfiring when it encounters a scale of customer cosmos or finality of death. We do not have to decide tonight which of these those are true. We only have to notice that question will not leave us alone, and fact alone is worth our attention. Okay. Why women search for God? Why do women search for God? Because fear, hope, meaning, love, death, uncertainty. These are not the abstract categories. They are weather of human being, human life. We search because we are the only animals who know we are going to die, and that knowledge changes everything. And other creatures feel pain and danger. We feel the knowledge of an ending that has not yet arrived. The knowledge that creates a unique kind of hunger. We search because love sometimes feels larger than two people involved in it. When you hold a newborn and sit with someone who is living this life, the feeling often exceeds the biological explanation. The excess is what the search tries to name. We search because randomness is psychologically expensive. The mind prefers a story, even a difficult story, over a pure accident. Universe is universe with intention is for many minds less frightening than universe with a pure chance. So we search because beauty seems to demand a response, a night sky, a piece of music, and a face of someone you love. These experiences carry a weight that feels objective, as if they are revealing something rather than merely generating the pleasure chemicals. None of this proves an object of search exists. It only shows that search itself is not optional. For most of the human beings, it's almost an inevitable and breathing one's consciousness reaches certain depth. Okay. Next, we'll understand about the psychology of belief. The human brain is not the camera, simply records the reality. It is the meaning making organ. It constantly looks for the patterns, agents, and the stories. This is not a flaw, it is how we survived. A brain that assumed the rustle in the grass might be predator lived longer than the brain that assumed it was the only wind. Daniel Nemon's work shows that how strongly we prefer coherent narratives over the randomness. We feel cognitive ease when we old makes sense, and the cognitive strain when it does not. Belief in a larger order often reduces that strain. Carl Jung noticed that certain images and themes keep appearing across the cultures that never met, and the wise old figure, the great mother, the hero's journey, the divine child, he called them an archetypes. Whether this points to something objective or simply to shared structure of human psyche, it's still debated. What matters for our purpose is this: the tendency to seek meaning, to detect agency, and to orient towards something greater is not rare psychologically, and it's the part of normal architecture of mind. Why every civilization created gods? Look at these ruins under the stars. Whenever human beings have lived in a larger numbers for long enough, they have created the stories, rituals, and the names for something behind visible world. In Egypt, it was Ra, Osiris, and Mesopotamia, and Enlil and Marduk. And in India, it's Brahman and many forms of divine. In China, it is Tao and heaven. Among the indigenous peoples, the great spirit, the dreaming, and the ancestors in the Abrahamic traditions, one God who speaks, commands, and the loves. Forms are different. The impulse is remarkably similar. This does not prove that any particular story is true. It does not show that the orientation toward the ultimate is nearly universal. A species that repeatedly invents same kind of question across the disconnected culture is telling us something about its own nature. We are not. We can study these traditions as cultural expressions. We can also ask whether They are all reaching in different languages towards something real. Both approaches remain open. So, what do we mean by God? Before we argue or against the God, we must notice something important. The word itself is not stable. For some, God is a personal being who knows wills and loves. For others, God is the ground of all being, not a person, but for a reason there is something rather than nothing. For others, still God is the sum of all laws of nature and totality of consciousness, or a mystery that exceeds every concept of war. When two people use the same word but mean differently, the conversation becomes confusion. Many arguments about the God fail at the first step. So tonight, when we use the word, we will try to be clear about which meaning is in play. And we'll remember that some of the deepest thinkers in the history have insisted that the ultimate reality, if it exists, may be closer to silence than any name we give it. Okay. Mhm. So 13.8 billion years, that is the current present estimate for the age of universe. We live on a very small planet orbiting an ordinary star in a one galaxy among hundreds of billions. Light we see from the distant galaxies left before the earth even existed. The sheer scale does something to the mind. It makes everybody it makes everyday concerns of human life feel both precious and strangely temporary. It also forces a question that science itself cannot fully close. Why is there universe at all? Why is these laws? Why is this unfolding? The image of woman figure under the cosmos is not the poetic exaggeration. It's literal description of our situation. We are the part of universe and has become aware of the universe. The fact alone is astonishing. So, fine tuning this, the physical constants of our universe fall within the extremely narrow ranges that allows atoms, stars, chemistry, and life to exist. A slight change in the strength of gravity or mass of electron, and we would not be here. Some philosophers and physicists see this as pointing towards a design or intention. Others reply that vast multiverse could explain the appearance of fine tuning. We simply find ourselves in one of the rare universe that permits the observers. Both interpreters are currently live. Neither has been proven. The data is real. The meaning of the data is still contested. What matters is the precision is not imaginary. It is one genuine puzzles that modern cosmology has handed to the philosophy. Science can describe the brain in remarkable detail. It can map networks, measure activity, and predict certain behaviors. What it still cannot explain is why any of this should feel like something from inside. Why there is a first person perspective at all. Why there is something looking out from behind your eyes. This is called hard problem of consciousness. It remains unsolved. Some believe deeper physical theory will eventually dissolve it. Others suspect that conscious is more fundamental than material description allows. Either way, the existence of inner experience is itself one of the most striking facts we know. The universe that produces beings who can ask about the universe is already stronger than we usually notice. Okay. Why does mathematics works so well? The structures that mathematicians invent in pure thought turn out to be describe the physical world with an extraordinary precision. Fusion Wigner called this and the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. Is this because the universe itself mathematical at root, or because minds that evolved to survive in a structure world naturally develop the tools that match the structure? We do not know, but the fit between the abstract thought and physical reality is close enough to feel like clue, even if we cannot yet read what the clue means. Okay. If everything that begins has a cause, what caused the universe? Some answer a necessary being that existed by its own nature and requires no further explanation. Other answers an infinite regress of causes with no beginning. Others say universe is a brute fact, it simply is. Still others point to a quantum cosmology and suggest that classical ideas of causation may not apply at origin. All of these remain philosophical options. None has been eliminated. The question of why there is something rather than nothing is still open. Many thoughtful people find belief reasonable for a combination of reasons. The existence of contingent universe that seems to require a ground, the operant fine tuning of the constants, the depth of moral experience, the testimony of religious encounters across the cultures, the sheer fact of unconscious itself. These are not the proofs in mathematical sense. They are cumulative considerations that, for many minds, make theism a more coherent response to reality than its objects. We can respect the reasoning without being required to accept the conclusion. Many other thoughtful people find non belief more reasonable. Death of suffering seems difficult to reconcile with the perfect power and goodness. The silence experienced by sincere seekers is puzzling. If the personal God desires relationship, naturalistic explanations continue to succeed without residual need for supernatural intervention. And the diversity of religious claims undercuts the confidence in any single revelation. These considerations also deserve full weight. Intellectual honesty requires that we present them with the same seriousness as the arguments on the other side. So, if a being of unlimited power, perfect goodness exists, why is there so much intense and seemingly senseless suffering, especially suffering of innocent? Responses have been offered. Freedom requires the possibility of real harm. Suffering can depend the character. Human understanding of whole is limited. Larger justice may exist beyond this life. Some conclude that traditional concept of God needs a revision. No response fully removes emotional, logical force of question for everyone. The problem remains alive, and any serious discussion must face it without evasion. Evolutionary theory gives a powerful and well supported account of how biological complexity arose through variation, selection, and deep time. It explains the diversity of life without requiring a special creation for each species. A philosophical question still sits around its edges: origin of the first life, the emergence of consciousness, whether the process itself is self sufficient and points behind itself. Science describes the mechanism. Larger meaning of the mechanism remains open to the interpretation. So, many people who have come close to the death report similar elements: peace, a life review, encounters with the light or presence, or sometimes reluctance to return. Neuroscience offers an explanations involving oxygen levels, endorphins, and temporal lobe activity. These explanations account for much of the data, whether experiences are entirely brain generated or also point to something more remains contested. The reports are real, their ultimate meaning is still uncertain. Coming to prayer meditation in the brain, the prayer meditation produce measurable changes in the brain activity, attention, and the emotional regulation. Spiritual practices have real effects on the nervous system. This shows that practice matters biologically. It does not settle whether the experiences refer only to the internal states or also reality behind the self. Both reading remain possible. Free will. Are we authors of choices? Or we witness of the processes already underway? Neuroscience and physics complicate the traditional picture of free will. Compatibilists argue that freedom is acting according to one's own reasons, even if those reasons have prior causes. Others insist genuine alternative possibilities are required for moral responsibility. The debate is unresolved. and touches the care of what we mean by a person. Some philosophers and technologists suggest that if advanced civilizations can create an high fidelity simulations of conscious beings, then the chance that we ourselves in such a simulation may be significant. This is a speculative idea, not scientific conclusion. It reframes the question of a creator in an unexpected way. It is useful to think with, not to treat as an established knowledge. Across very different cultures, we find recurring insights and necessity of facing suffering, the value of non attachment, the possibility of aligning with the deeper order, the power of love, compassion, and the limits of ego. Bhagavad Gita, Buddhist teachings, Taoism, Christian mysticism, and Sufism, and Stoicism all offer paths that have helped countless people live with a greater clarity and less unnecessary pain. We can learn from them without ranking them. What great thinkers believed. Plato pointed to the form of good. Aristotle spoke of an unmoved mover. Descartes began from clear, distinct ideas. Spinoza identified God with the nature. Kant limited pure reason while preserving the practical need for an idea of God. William James studied religious experience as a real psychological effect. Jung saw the divine as an archetype of self. Einstein spoke Spinoza's God, the harmony of existence. These are different maps of the same territory. None owns the final word. The confirmation bias makes us notice what fits what already believe. Corridolia makes us see the faces, patterns in randomness. Hyperactive agency detection makes us attribute intention too readily. Social influence shapes belief through belonging. These biases affect everyone, believers, non believers alike. Awareness of them is a tool for clear thinking, not a weapon against any particular side. Why is there something rather than nothing? Why does conscious exist? What is the fundamental nature of time? Why do laws of physics take a form they do? These are the temporary gaps waiting for the next experiment. They mark boundary, whether empirical methods reach their limit and philosophical questions begins. A personal deity who knows and relates universal consciousness as a ground of awareness, laws of nature and the source of those laws, an unknown reality behind our current categories, something that exceeds every concept we form. Keeping these possibilities open is a form of intellectual humility. Our sense detect only narrow band of reality. Our brains construct an usable model of world, not complete one. It's possible that reality contains the depth our present cognitive architecture cannot reach. This does not prove any particular claim about the God. It only cautions us against assuming that limits of our current understanding are the limits of what it is. Imagine an ant trying to understand the internet from an ant sensory world. Almost nothing of vast, abstract, and human created this system is accessible. The question is whether human minds, whether asking about the ultimate reality, may face a similar structural limitation. The absence of complete understanding may be expected rather than decisive. When we ask about the God, we also reveal what we take to be most real and most worth living for. The search is never only about the external object, it is about the kind of beings we are. In that sense, the question is a mirror. What we find or fail to find tells us something about the searcher as well as the sought. Two honest paths stand before us. One finds the cumulative weight of cosmological, moral, and experimental considerations makes belief the more coherent response. The other finds the success of naturalistic explanation, the problem of suffering, the demand for evidence make non-belief the more responsible response. Both can be walked with integrity. The goal is not to force the choice, but to understand the reasoning on each side. Perhaps the deepest question is not only that does God exist, but what kind of reality are we living in? The reality that produces the minds capable of asking about its own origin, meaning is already stronger than we usually notice. The fact of the question itself is a part of mystery. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether God exists, but that the universe became aware enough to ask this question. Look at the image of the eye reflecting the galaxy. That is us, the cosmos looking itself. What do you believe? The conversation continues inside each of us. Okay. So, and at the end of this session, I want to say whether you people might have deep inside have come to and thought means clear picture of it. As per me, God means a summation of goodness. If someone is struggling to lead a life, or some any living being is struggling to have a life, and if you help them, then itself is a and you will be a God for them, like that आप ही भगवान हो जाते हो उनके लिए. और कोई अपने मीन्स जीने के लिए स्ट्रगल कर रहा है, उसके आप हेल्प किए तो आप ही भगवान हो जाते हो. मीन्स भगवान मतलब इट्स a summation of good deeds, means it's a good qualities. Okay. So thank you for thinking with me tonight, and we will have a next session on why do we afraid to die. That will be our next session. We will have it in tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Thank you all.